Hello, friends. Join me as I read from the Esther Chronicles, written by Kevin Scott Collier, dedicated to his beautiful wife, Kristen. Fable 1, A Good Deed Unnoticed. It was a rainy day in the channel, and Esther, the painted turtle, spent most of it upon her log inside her shell, peering out at the raindrops upon the water surface. Boris the otter was the only creature who braved the rain that day, occasionally swimming by Esther's log with a stick in his mouth. Boris had a daily routine of meticulously rebuilding and improving his humble mud hut dwelling. A break in the rain summoned Esther's curiosity, so she slowly snuck her head out from her shell and observed tiny pieces of debris floating past her log. Suddenly, a thin, narrow object floating upon the surface caught her attention. "What is that?" Esther wondered as she drew her eyes into focus. It was an exquisitely polished stick. Esther slid off her log into the water of the channel and carefully retrieved the stick in her mouth. This must have come from Boris's hut, the turtle imagined. She swam upstream to the otter's dwelling. When Esther arrived at the humble hut, Boris was nowhere to be found. Esther had wanted to return the beautiful polished stick to Boris in person, but it was not to be. So she carefully lodged the stick securely to the side of Boris's mud hut, then departed, swimming back to her log. The sun broke out and shined brightly upon the surface of the water. Suddenly, Esther heard a flurry of wings above, and she looked up. It was her friend Gak, the red-winged blackbird, descending to join her. "I saw the good deed you just did, Esther," the blackbird reported. "But why are you so glum? You did return the stick to the right place." "But Boris was not there to witness what I did," sighed Esther. "He probably wasn't even aware that the stick was missing." "So you require recognition for your good deeds?" Gak inquired, tapping his talons impatiently upon Esther's log. "God witnessed your act of kindness." "He did?" "God sees all things, Esther," replied Gak. "His grace shines upon you for this selfless act." But, Esther stammered, "it would be nice if Boris knew too." "Well, I was just witness last week to something quite considerate that Boris did for you, Esther," Gak announced. "He did something for me?" a surprised Esther answered. "I don't know what it could have been." "While you were off swimming in the channel, Ferris the woodpecker landed upon your log and was clearly prepared to ravage it," Gak explained. "Boris, who was passing by, shooed the creature away to save your home from ruin." Esther twisted up her face, concerned at the revelation. "You see, Esther, doing a good deed is a reward in and of itself," Gak crowed. "There are countless acts of compassion and kindness that transpire on your behalf every day that you will never be aware of. Doing good deeds for others without recognition returns a favor in kind." "I see." The turtle nodded with recognition. And with that exchange, Gak leapt into the sky and flew off. Just then, Esther heard the sound of swimming in the water, and she spied Boris the otter passing by with another stick in his mouth. The two exchanged cordial smiles without exchanging a single word, as Boris continued on his way in the direction of his dwelling. Esther rested her neck upon her log and struck a bright smile. For even if Boris was never to discover Esther's good deed, God had witnessed it, and he smiled too. I love this story because it reminds me of what God says in the book of Matthew, chapter 6. He says, "Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men, to be seen by them. For if you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets to be honored by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be done in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Thanks for joining me.